Okay, so Enkidu is a totally absurd unit. Let's go over his kit real quick and I'll showcase him in the trials. S1, attacks one enemy 3 times damage per hit is equals to 2.5% of his max HP. He gains 2 stacks of Zest. And Zest is healing received plus 20%, chance of taking critical hits minus 10%. It stacks up to 10 times. His passive gains 2 stacks of Zest at the start of the round. Taking hits recovers HP equals to 10% of his max HP. When enemies gain shield, perform a pursuit attack with Righteous Resolve on a random target and gains Zest. Upon gaining 10 stacks of Zest, dispels all of his debuffs, casts Justice Serve, which is his S3, and consumes all stacks of Zest. Righteous Resolve is dispels shields from one enemy, their max HP minus 5%, attacks the enemy, damage equals to 18% of his max HP, gains 1 stack of Zest. And lastly, his S3 gains 1 stack of Divine Help if Amir's HP is above 50%, the target's max HP minus 10%. Inflicts disease on all enemies for 2 turns, attacks all enemies, damage per hit is equals to 10% of his max HP. If Amir has Divine Help, performs a pursuit attack with his passive on a random target once per Divine Help stack. Divine Help maximum stacks is 4. So Divine Help is after casting Righteous Resolve, deals splash damage to 2 random enemies other than the target. Splash damage is equals to 10% of his max HP. This guy pursues like there's no tomorrow. His R2 is gains an additional 5 stacks of Zest. This is part of the reason why he is the best wave clearer, which I'll show you why in a bit. And then his R4 is Justice Serve, gains an additional 1 stack of Divine Help after casting this ability. And then his R6, Justice Serve, gains 2 stacks of Zest after casting this ability. Divine Help, after casting Righteous Resolve, inflicts disease on the target for 2 turns and won't miss. His captain ability is increases HP in triple threat by 40%. Yeah, in trials content, this guy is going to be stupidly broken. His wave clearing potential is just way too good. So I got 14 turns on the trials on round 20. How is that possible? It's because of Amir. So what you want to do is, if you don't have your own Amir, the first layer doesn't really matter what you take. You can go with this one. Abilities levels are max if you don't have your units at max level yet. But the second one is going to be important. If you are running an armor, then you go for Inferno Attune. And if you're running Leora, then you would go for the Flow Attune one. Reroll until you get one of those. So I'm just going to get the level ability max first. And I'm going to go for Inferno Attune. And then the last tier, if you don't have your own Amir, you want to get this one. Where is it? This one. Allied Captain's Resonance Phase plus 2 during combat. Because you do need him to be at R2 for this to be the shortest amount of turn as possible. But if you already have your Amir at R2, what you can do is just take a Fighter's Speed plus 25%. But again, if you don't have your own Amir like me, you want to get this Allied Captain's Resonance Phase plus 2 during combat. You're going to be using the rival runes that they have set up for Amir. He has pretty decent stats, but he is a bit too fast, so you want your nuker, your AoE nuker, to be faster than him. So I have my armor on the wind set, faster than him. And I also have Chu Yao, just to strip the Lian's buff, because sometimes he doesn't strip the shield buff. It can get a little bit annoying. And I'm also running Daji to just to nuke the Lian. I'm running Ethan to give me extra buff for my armor, and also running him on the Ggez set. And then again, very important for this guy to be at R2. Either you run your own Amir at R2 or you run him with the buff, right? So let's go in. Again, if you don't have an armor, then you use a Leora. And you change the buff. Instead of using the Inferno Attune attack plus 25%, you go with the Flow Attune. So at this point, you can just click auto. Every single wave, if you see this one, he's gaining the Zest stack every single wave. Because when it says at the start of combat, it's not just at the start of the fight. It's at the start of every single round. So every single round, he's actually gaining 7 stacks of Zest. So every other round, he's spamming his S3 because he has 10 stacks of Zest. This is the reason why this guy is so overpowered as a wave clearer for future trials moving forward. So if you don't have him at R2, you're going to be suffering a lot in trials content, because he will be clearing the waves without taking a single turn. Check this out, right? This turn, he's not at 10 stacks yet. My number is gonna take a turn. The turn counter is gonna go up by 3. Oh, never mind. It doesn't go up by 3 because he doesn't take a turn. So I cleared that wave without him taking a turn. So now it's Number's turn. It goes up by 1 turn. So yeah, this guy is gonna be completely absurd at wave clearing. So yeah, you can just click auto all the way through. And then some of these fights he doesn't clear all the way, but it doesn't matter because right now, because he has been spamming his S3 every 2 waves, he has 3 stacks of the Divine Help right now, which means that when he casts his S3, he's also going to be pursuing with his passive 3 times or up to 4 times when he has 4 stacks of Divine Help. And whenever he casts the thing, right, the Divine Help, he will also splash it to 2 other enemies. He will do it 4 times. So yeah, you'll see the absurdity at the last stage on just how many pursuits he does. So right now on this wave, he's just going to one-shot everyone without taking a single turn. So I'm at round 9, and the turn counter is only at 5 because he takes 0 turns to clear some of these waves. So yeah, there we go. The steward didn't die, but it doesn't matter because he's going to be spamming his Righteous Resolve 4 times because I have 4 stacks of Divine Help, right? And again, this guy is just completely absurd, man. Also, this guy is going to be hard countering Jin Qiu, R2 Jin Qiu comps. If you bring this guy, if you bring a Jin Qiu against this guy, you pretty much like instantly lose. He does so much pursuit attacks that it's not even funny. So yeah, there we go. This guy didn't die, but it doesn't matter because he has 4 stacks of Divine Help, and it took 0 turns. That was 0 turns taken for him to clear that wave. And he got another S3 proc again. So I'm at round 17 with only 8 turns. This one doesn't matter, I didn't one-shot because I'm going to do 4 hits of the Righteous Resolve. And then in this wave, in the last wave, he's gonna be spamming his S3 again. Then right here, I just click off the auto real quick. And then when the Lian gets to use her S3, he's gonna be spamming his S3 again. There we go. Removing some of the shield. Yeah, look at this. Look at this absurdity. Look at how many times he's pursuing. Finally, he's done. And my number gets to move, one-shot someone. And then at this point, I just need to get lucky and crit this guy. And we should be done. Okay. I think that Lian should die because he's gonna be spamming her like 4 times in a row. Oh, she didn't die because she got the defense buff. Close though. Maybe she dies. She's 1 HP. But yeah, this guy is just completely absurd. He's doing 1.3 million damage by taking like 0 turns. His pursuits are insane. But yeah, let me show you the build once again. You want to go for either Inferno Attune Attack if you're using Narmer, or go for Flow if you're using Leora. And then the first one is going to be, you can pick either one of them, it doesn't really matter. Ability upgrades is going to be very useful for those who don't have their legendary Espers maxed out. And then the last one, if you don't have your own Enkidu, then run the Captain Resonance up by 2, so you can have him at R2, which is needed. And then again, the sets, Narmer just pure DPS, make sure he's faster than Enkidu, make sure he's the fastest in the team. Ethan, doesn't really matter what set you run him on, just make sure that he has Aegis set, pure DPS set as well, also faster than Enkidu. And Chu Yao, faster than your Daji, but slower than your Narmer. Okay, I'm going to show you some clips from my guildmate Anos. This is just how absurd he is against a Jin Qiu. Like, take a look at this fight, right? My guildmate is killing the enemies in 1 turn. 1 turn! Look, he's going to remove Jin Qiu's buff. He keeps on spamming it, and he keeps on gaining the stacks. Now he's at 10 stacks, he casts his S3. He's back to 0 stacks, and he keeps on gaining it because Jin Qiu keeps on getting shield buff. Look at this. He casted S3 twice, twice in a row. Oh my lord. This is an R6 Jin Qiu with a Sakura team. Killed in 0 turns. Not even 1 turn, it's 0 turns. Okay, here's another clip. An R6 Daji. Let's see what he does to R6 Daji teams. Look at this. What is this, bruh? He keeps on gaining the zest buff because Jin Qiu keeps on giving shield to himself. So whenever Jin Qiu gives a shield to himself, he keeps on gaining the buff. He keeps on doing the righteous resolve, which procs another shield buff on Jin Qiu, and it keeps on going until the enemies die. Or it's either until the enemies die, or if Enkidu gets unlucky and one of those random hits doesn't go to Jin Qiu. But it's very unlikely that one of those hits is not going to Jin Qiu, because he does splash damage to 2 other enemies, right? One of them is going to be random, and then 2 of them is going to be splash damage to 2 other enemies. So you're most likely going to be hitting Jin Qiu every single time you pursuit. And yeah, and this is what's going to happen. He keeps on pursuing until the enemies die. Look at this. This is an R6 Daji comp with a R6 Lian, with a Sakura for damage reduction, with a Jin Qiu that keeps on gaining shield, and he cleaves it like it's nothing. He keeps on gaining. This is 1 turn, by the way. This is not like multiple turns, this is just 1 turn. The enemies are all dead at this point. The reason why these guys are still alive is because of Daji's passive. They are held back from dying because of Daji's passive. Oh man, bro, what is this, man? And then they all died for... Oh, they died because he stopped pursuing. That was the time that he stopped pursuing, so the enemies can actually take a turn, and they finally died. If Jin Qiu was still alive, I think that was gonna go for a longer period of time. But yeah, that's Enkidu. He is completely absurd against Jin Qiu. Like pretty much any comps with a R2 Jin Qiu is like almost guaranteed lose against this guy, because he will just completely kill out Jin Qiu no matter what. And it's not a bug as well, because it doesn't say anywhere in his skills that it procs once per turn. There is a very important distinction between some of these Espers, like for example, let me see if I can remember at the top of my head. I think Wu Yu has that passive as well. Shockproof bar, right? Undispellable when taking a hit, AP plus 20%, triggers once per turn. This is a very important distinction. Triggers once per turn. And then we have another one, I think, no, not her. Momo should have one as well. Blah blah blah, gains 1 stack of rep, triggers once per turn. I think Lian also has that triggers once per turn with her Dream Bubble buff. Healing is equals to 10% of her max HP, triggers once per target per turn. This is a very important distinction that Enkidu or Amir does not have in his skills. So if you take a look at his passive real quick, when enemies gain shield, performs a pursuit attack with Righteous Resolve on a random target and gains Zest stacks. Nowhere in his passive does it say that it triggers once per turn or whatever. It triggers whenever the enemies gains a shield. His S3 as well, if you read it carefully, it doesn't say triggers once per turn. Let's see. Gains 1 stack of Divine Help. If Amir's HP is above 50%, the target's max HP minus 7% inflicts disease on all enemies for 2 turns, attacks all enemies. That's the damage. If Amir has Divine Help, performs a pursuit attack with Righteous Resolve on a random target once per Divine Help stack. Not once per turn. It is once per Divine Help per stack, right? So this is the reason why he can perform multiple assists. As long as the enemies are gaining a shield, he will keep on pursuing. This is how insane this guy is. So it is not a bug with him. If they do change his wording to change it to once per turn or something, they would have to give everyone their summons back, because this is a make or break of the character. If he only triggers once per turn, it is severely going to dampen his usability. He is extremely strong right now, because he can proc multiple pursuits with 0 turns. Not even 1 turn, right? 0 turns. So yeah, that's about it. I might even go for his R6. I have almost enough, just 40 wish stones left to go. Or no, 60 wish stones left to go. I should be able to get it by the end of the patch, I think. I probably won't go for R6 Jin Qiu anymore because he is getting super mega hard countered by this guy. As long as Jin Qiu is in the battlefield, it's pretty much over for your entire team. So yeah, if you do plan on getting this guy, I would say his R0 is still not worth it. He is a very stat dependent unit, but if you do, have enough to R2 him, it's gonna be really good. His R2 is gonna be very important for Trials content, especially the waves one. And you can probably stop at this one, R5, or even R4. R4 is gains an additional divine help after casting the S3, right? So that's gonna help you a little bit more. So whenever he casts his S3, he's gonna be instantly at 2 stacks of divine help. In my opinion, his R6 is not that important. He gains 2 stacks of zest, which is okay, but not really needed. And the disease debuff now won't miss, which is, it's okay. It's not really that crazy. Again, if you want to get him, either get him to R2 or R4. If you want to, then just stop at R5. But yeah, that's about it. Ciao.